And resume our recording here. Okay, we are live on Facebook in our Dough Planner Collective group, and we are live here for our recording. Amazing, it worked. Okay, and I'm just gonna check our Facebook group here on my phone. I'll be just watching for any comments coming in on this end as well. Okay, we're perfect. Yay! I'm so excited. Okay, so welcome everyone. So for those of you in our Zoom room right now, and then for everyone who is catching us, we've already got people hopping on in the Facebook group right now live that'll be catching us from there. We are in for such a huge treat tonight, which I'm super excited for. So I'm just going to pull up the actual description here for this class because it's super awesome, and we've been waiting, anticipating this amazing event. So everyone, this is so Vanessa and Adam, meet the Dough Planner Collective group. This is our monthly team call. We are wellness advocates from all over the globe who are super duper excited to have you guys here with us. And planners, meet Adam and Vanessa. So Vanessa is a double diamond and Australian founder, and Adam is a blue diamond from Australia. And I for a second there, I thought you were New Zealand for a moment, and I was like, oh, did I say Australian? You're actually from New Zealand. You know, I know how it is. People don't like that in Australia. Call them New Zealand and vice versa. I love Australia, by the way. Lived there for 6 months. Totally obsessed. Would go back there in a heartbeat. So I cannot wait just to listen to your accents all night. That's all I have to say. Because of course it's night on our side of the world right now. So we are going to be enjoying a 90-minute webinar exploring the emotional, spiritual, mythological, and metaphysical aspects of essential oils. This fun and interactive session will unveil how to gain a deeper understanding of the gifts each plant offers and simple, oily practices to bring into your everyday life to experience great joy, bliss, fulfillment, and magic. Mother Nature is waiting to whisper her secrets. Are you ready to hear her wisdom? All right, so this is awesome. We're so excited to have you. So guys, here in the Zoom room, you can participate interactively right here in the Zoom room. And those of you that are live in our Facebook group right now watching, I posted the Zoom room link so you can actually hop back into Zoom and catch us if you're watching live. If you're catching the replay, then obviously you'll be just catching the replay. So I'm going to put myself on mute and let you guys take it over from here. We're so excited to have you. The floor is now yours.
Thank you very much. And just as Jennifer did some time in Australia, I did some time in Canada. So it's, you know, really great to kind of hear. I keep saying we don't have accents, you've got accents. So to allow me to introduce myself a little bit to start off with. So my name is Adam. I have always grown up surrounded in nature kind of thing. So where I grew up, I live now in the hills of Western Australia. So we're bushland, and it's not unusual for me every day to hear laughing kookaburras and see kangaroos around and that type of thing. So as I was kind of getting older and older, you know, anything that came from nature was a natural fit for me. So I've had essential oils since I was 17. I just have them as, you know, the good old oil burner when we were young, that blasphemy, and, you know, to make the space smell nice. I'm trained as a massage therapist. So I'd use it with clients when I was working there. And then as time went on, I found not only the benefits physically, but I started to discover them emotionally, mentally, and then aspects of nature became part of my spirituality as well. So not only do I work with essential oils, but I have a deep passion for crystals, for the guidance we get from the animal kingdom. I've studied astrology and tarot, and all those things that kind of stood the test of time. And you'll see how I kind of weave them in as we talk for the next 90 minutes or so. So I grew up in Perth. I lived on the other side of Australia in Melbourne for a little while. Then went and lived for a year in Toronto, where I worked at the Toronto Zoo, which I consider to be the best zoo in the world, and did a little bit in New York before coming back here as well. And that's where I met Vanessa and we wrote this book. But I'll allow Vanessa to introduce her glorious self as well.
Thanks, Adam. It's so beautiful to be here with you all. Okay, what can I tell you? I grew up on the land. I'm Italian and Maltese, so my Italian family very connected to the land, growing everything that we eat, making everything from scratch. And that's where my passion for food magic began. I have a whole stream of foremothers before me and beyond that are incredible inspirations in the kitchen. So that's where that started. And in my teens, because I was a little girl growing up with my nonna and nonnal making everything, you know, all the balms and poultices we needed from the earth. So then in my teens, I started combining herb lore with aromatherapy and essential oils, and never really looked back. Used them in private practice as a psychologist and holistic practitioner, and running all the retreats I did. And now I'm just here having fun with you all. So I'm super keen to just dive in, share this plant magic with you. We really want to invite you to engage with us on the chat. We can't have everyone off mute. It's a little bit difficult, but we can definitely just have that chat open. While I'm speaking, Adam generally moderates it, and then while he's speaking, I do the same. So we're usually here waiting to answer your questions. And for those that can, please come on camera. It's super important for us to just see you and connect with your faces. We work intuitively. We'd love to hear as we go through the elements, the types of oils, the parts of plants you want to connect with. And in this time and day, I feel like where so much is on Zoom, it's so important for us to see each other. Yeah. So as much as possible, pop yourselves on. We don't care how you look. We just want to see your gorgeous light. Okay. Take it away, Adam.
So just to echo what Vanessa said, we love it to be interactive, and we're both going to ask different questions of you that we'd like you to answer throughout, so we can kind of, where we want this session to be what you want it to be. So we're happy to go off on tangents if a question comes in, and then come back and that type of thing as well. But to get everyone's fingers warmed up, we always get curious, and we'd love to know where everyone's tuning in from. So let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from, just so we can kind of, get the 411. I'd love to know. Beautiful Niagara, Toronto. So I used to live in Corktown, for those that live in Toronto, and then worked at one of the flight centres, and then would go up to Toronto Zoo as well. All over. My partner was born in New Mexico. Awesome. So you're all over. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us. Now I'm just going to pull up a bit of a slideshow to kick us off today. So first of all, officially welcome to the Gifts of the Essential Oils Masterclass. What we're going to be talking about today is based on a book that Vanessa and I wrote on the summer solstice of 2019. Vanessa came up to my home and we were surrounded. We had a goshawk flying around. We had bandicoots, which are these big kind of like micro kangaroos. So kind of, if you cross from a kangaroo with a rat, maybe kind of thing, but they're cute. They're not feral. They were running around our feet. We had frogs croaking. It was really quite beautiful. And so what we'll be referring to today is what you will find in the Gifts of Essential Oils book. If you have that book, then grab it, and it's great to kind of flick through and you'll see us referring to that. If you don't have that, don't stress, and we will actually show you where you can get that at the end, and we may have a bit of a special deal for you as well, so stay tuned for that. One of the key things I really wanted to share with you today, and what Vanessa and I both noticed as we were kind of going and working through the oils, is when you come to understand the plant, it tells you everything you need to know about the oil. Who here has ever read a autobiography or seen a movie about someone's life? You're like, oh, now I realize why they made those decisions or why they behave like that. It really kind of shows you why. And so what we're going to take you through on a journey on today is not just the oils, but you'll keep on hearing us refer to the plants and the trees, because they will tell you everything that they are. That the oils are. We see the essential oils as the soul or the gift from each plant to help humanity. They're gifts from the plant kingdom to help humanity to fulfill their role here on the planet. So what do we explore in the book, and what are we going to explore today? In the book, we explore over 100 single essential oils, and each one gets a double page spread. Here's an example where you can see rose here. On the page, what we dive into is we give you an introduction talking about where is this plant native to? How does it grow? How big does it grow? What color are its flowers? What color is its fruit? All those different things can have an impact on the essential oil that it gives us. We know how much people love emotional the emotional aspect of the essential oils. So we go into that. We go into oils to help with negative emotions such as grief or sorrow or guilt or anger, and then how to move into something that's more proactive, as in passion or joy and so on. We've got a comprehensive index at the back, which you can look up the different emotions and then see which chapters to read there as well. I really love the traditional and the mythology stories based around the essential oils and the plants. In the past, as we know, all around the world, whether it be North America, down here in Australia, or Eurasia, anywhere like that, they lived off the land a lot more. They relied on it for food. They relied on plant medicine as their only form of medicine. It wasn't an alternative. And so these people had deep, deep relationships with plants. And so when we go back to look at their stories, it really shows us more, I think, things that we're missing in modern day. And we've tried to bring them back in this book as well. As we know, people love to bring in a bit more love into their life. We'd like a little bit more abundance and maybe some energetic protection. We talk about that throughout the chapters as well. I work a lot with chakras and crystals, so you'll see me dotting that in throughout. And as Vanessa mentioned before, she is a whiz in the kitchen. So there's some food magic, incorporating oils into food, because that's obviously bringing the energy into your body that way as well. On each page at the top, what you'll find is some anchoring words or some key themes. So here for Arbor Vitae, you can see the words standing strong, repelling, and divine assistance. So if you're brand new to the oils, or you haven't worked with this oil before, or you're trying to introduce someone else to the oil for the first time, you're trying to encapsulate it in just a few words, look at those anchoring words, and that will kind of give you a bit of an idea of what exactly that energy is about. In many other essential oil literature that's out there, you'll find they often refer to, the oil of passion, the oil of love, the oil of communication, and so on. We really wanted to take this beyond, it's just a bit of liquid in a bottle. We really wanted you to see that this is an offering from the plant kingdom. It's a gift. And so rather than just call it the oil of, we've rephrased that to say, my gift to you is. So here's an example with helichrysum, and herein lies one of the little secrets about understanding the deeper levels of the oils. We all know how amazing helichrysum is for cuts and bruises and scars and injuries and that type of thing. And what we found is often what an oil does physically to the body, it does metaphysically on those deeper levels as well. So yes, if I bruise myself or hit myself or cut myself kind of thing, helichrysum goes on. But if anyone is harboring any deep emotional wounds or scars, if you're feeling bruised and battered emotionally, helichrysum is actually really powerful in that way as well. Vanessa.
So what we found was, as we started diving deeper with the plants and the different parts of the plants that brought their gifts to us, we felt this emergence of a sacred practice, a ritual, or a devotional that could be added to your daily life. So you'll see it's 2-page spread per part of the plant. And at the bottom of the left-hand side, you'll see a practice. And we really invite you to read these, engage in them where they feel great. We've aligned them with correspondences and corresponding energies, crystals, for example, certain chakras to breathe into, certain sounds to make to activate different chakras or energy centers in your body. Sometimes you're just going to feel like they're these simple, beautiful practices that bring you back to the moment. And other times you're going to feel like Harry Potter and you've got your magic wand out and you're waving it around and you are magic. Yeah. So they're joyous, they're simple, and they're something we invite you to partake of in your daily life. The next part goes into the affirmation. This is where you can connect both with the plant, the essential oil, and creating an aromatic anchor, powerful aromatic anchor for yourself. So as you inhale the wild orange, for instance, I choose to live joyously this day. This can become your meditation, your daily mantra, your monthly mantra as you're working with that particular essential oil. You can say it as you're aromatically dressing, and you'll see on the next slide, we have these beautiful master blends, which are powerful, potent, and very purposeful conscious creations that we've come up with. So each of the blends has a description. So you can feel like you're diving into them. And throughout this class tonight, I'll share a couple of those with you, just so that you can kind of start to feel like, okay, so we have awakened insight, fennel, patchouli, Hawaiian sandalwood, star anise. Why did they choose them? What made them lean into those essential oils? And that kind of gives a description. You can align them with the practice. Sometimes we give you a little exercise to, or a way to use that blend. And of course, you can align them with the affirmations. So I digest life and knowledge with ease, and my insight awakens. I'm illuminated. Yeah. So you work with that particular blend. Now you'll see with these blends that don't have number of drops, we're not big believers in putting the number of drops of everything there, because we believe that you are conscious creatrixes, that you are intuitive, you are powerful, you're sovereign beings. You know what you need more than we do. So just take the essential oils and take the lids off. Maybe take it off screen share just for a sec, Adam.
Yeah, good in 2 seconds.
Sure.
There you go.
Thanks, sweetie. So you just take your essential oil bottles like this, take the lids off the bottles and put them at even levels, and just take a deep breath and just become really aware of what you want to summon forth into being, or what you want to release, or how you want these allies to support you. And then just drop the essential oil you want less of, lift up one you want more of, and just kind of feel. And I'm like, that feels really yummy. Yeah. So I'll have like 3 drops of Hawaiian sandalwood, and maybe 1 of geranium, and 2 of vetiver, and 3 of green mandarin, and pop that in my diffuser, or in my little bowl with fractionated coconut oil, a couple of squares of fractionated coconut oil, and then add the essential oils and do my aromatic dressing and get that all over my body. Or maybe you want to pop it into a roller bottle or a spritzer bottle and use it in your home or over your body, cleansing your auric field. In a roller bottle as a pure fume, or a pulse point blend, anointing your pulse points. Yeah, so you can really work with these in powerful and empowering ways. And we encourage you to have fun with them. You may see and hear essential oils that doTERRA does not sell as a single note. What we've done is we've helped to break down the blends that doTERRA has. Like, for instance, DigestZen has tarragon. So we've put tarragon in the essential oil book. And what this does is it helps you to connect with the essential oils that help to make up these exquisite synergistic blends that doTERRA has come up with. And if you feel like you really want to dive into the medicine of that particular essential oil and you don't have it in your hot hand, you just close your eyes and just connect with the plant and the part of the plant that essential oil comes from, and ask it to bless you, call it to you, magnetize it to you with your heart, and just ask that the gifts that you're drawn to bless you in your life. And you can do that while holding a roller bottle creation by summoning that to it, because it's all energy. Everything's energetic. So you're just working with the energy of Mama Gaia and her children, our brothers and sisters, and bringing that in to infuse that blend. Okay, Adam.
Okay, so today what we wanted to share with you is this idea of one way to look at the essential oils. And you notice throughout the book and a lot of how we teach, our book isn't just organized from A to Z. What we've done is we've divided the oils into the magical elements. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard of fire, air, earth, and water. We often hear about them with our zodiac signs. So, we have our fire signs, our air signs, and so on. Now, when it comes to the trees and the plants, we didn't go around and ask them when they were born. What we've started to notice is that when we look at where on the plant or the tree the oil is gifted from, they seem to have the same traits as the magical elements. So today we're going to take you on a bit of a journey throughout the elements and how that can give you a strong indication of the power of each oil. So the first element we're going to dive into is the element of earth. And I'd love to know in the chat, what words come to mind when you think of earth? Not the whole planet, just a bit of soil beneath your feet. What's the qualities of earth? Grounding. Perfect, Jennifer. Yes. So here's, home. Oh, I love that one. Growth. Yeah, beautiful, Nancy. These are some of the words we use a lot in our book. Grounding, stability, resilience, boundaries, and support. And what we found is any oil that is gifted from the wood, the bark, or the root has these different attributes. And you can see the list of the different oils that we explore in this section here on the slide here. But what we also notice is this is kind of the underpinning, the basis of each of these oils. But as you get to know each oil and each tree or plant a little bit more, it'll show you a little bit more deeper in how you get that stability, how you get that support, and so on. So I'm going to talk about 3 of my favorite tree oils and kind of demonstrate that a little bit. So I'm going to talk about arbor vitae, cedarwood, and sandalwood. So first of all, good old arbor vitae, a native of Canada. So this is actually, it's, although we call it the Western red cedar, it's actually part of the cypress family. The oil, as you may have already heard, is very thick in the trunk of this tree, that nothing will eat into it. No insects, no pests, no rot, and even when it falls over, it takes a long, long time to decay. So when we're gifted that oil to bring into our lives, it helps us in a similar way. Does anyone ever have those days, maybe even today, it was one of those days where they're trying to get something done, when they're trying to focus on their own growth up towards the heavens, but they keep on getting pestered and pests bugging them all the time. Children need something, partner needs something, friend needs something, work needs something, and you kind of get distracted all the time. Jennifer's saying every day. Mercury retrograde is one of my favorite times to use arbor vitae. So arbor vitae, you'll notice that the tree kind of grows straight up. It only has some smaller branches coming out. It focuses on getting towards the heavens, getting towards our heavenly purpose, our heavenly focus in that type of way. So when you feel that you need a bit of, I need to repel all those distractions, that's a really great time for you to reach for arbor vitae. Now, cedarwood, which I believe many of you would have got a free one last month with your loyalty rewards order. Cedarwood, another big, strong tree, roots going deep into the ground, but typically its branches tend to outstretch more. Cedarwood has also been used across North America and throughout Europe as well because the wood is so big and thick and strong, for building big community buildings, halls, churches, and where people would gather, or sometimes traditionally people would just gather around the cedarwood tree. So cedarwood is an amazing oil to really help, and I think it's really potent right now to help us embrace community a bit more. Is there anyone here who sometimes feels that when they're in a group of people, it could be family, it could be work, it could be, anyway, that you get a little bit overwhelmed and you lose your sense of who you are, and you kind of don't speak up as much as you can? You see, cedarwood is strongly associated with the sun, and so it really helps you to shine, to be grounded in who you are, but to embrace being out in the community as well. I think it's also a really powerful oil to be working with right now with COVID. And, obviously the pandemic and we've got the vaccinations coming out, and some people, regulations will change in how much contact we can have in people. And there's this kind of insecurity of, I don't know what to show. I don't know how to embrace people. I don't, what to do. And cedarwood really helps you to stand in your own strength, but embrace other people. Now, sandalwood is a fascinating tree. Vanessa and I were actually blessed to go to Hawaii in 2019 because doTERRA had bought massive farmland there, and they are replanting that farmland back to its original forest. Part of that will be large amounts of Hawaiian sandalwood trees. Now, we got to go and plant some of the first original Hawaiian sandalwood trees. And when we're planting them, we realized you can't just go sandalwood, 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 sandalwood. You actually must plant a sandalwood tree next to another native tree like a koa tree. And what happens as the sandalwood starts to grow, it'll reach its roots out and it will hold on to the root system of another tree to get some of its nutrients like nitrogen. So what sandalwood does is sandalwood teaches us how to have healthy relationships, that we need to be in relationships. Sandalwood has actually got a similar chemical constituents to a male pheromone. So it's great for men to wear to help them become more attractive to the opposite sex, to attract a mate in that kind of way. So sandalwood shows us how to have healthy relationships and how to attract beneficial relationships into our life that will help serve our greater good. So you've got arbor vitae, strength on your own. Cedarwood, strength in the community. And sandalwood, strength in relationships. So they each help you keep grounded, strong and stable, but in different ways and in different aspects of your life. I'll hand over to Vanessa and talk a little bit about the roots and the barks.
Hi. So We have barks, we have roots, and roots I actually segregate into roots and rhizomes. So the rhizomes are ginger and turmeric. The roots are vetiver and spikenard, and then the barks, we have beautiful cassia and cinnamon bark. So let's start there. As Adam was talking about the trees and their connections with each other and how we can lean into them metaphysically and emotionally, we can look at the barks in a similar way. The barks of the skin or the protecting armor of the tree. And they work in a similar way with us as humans, where we feel we need more protection or more armoring. Maybe you feel like you're a bit of a doormat, or you just open your heart to everyone and you feel tread on, or that you trust everyone so deeply and you feel like you're run to the ground with that. And what happens is over time, you can build up this armor. You start to protect yourself more and more. I'm not letting anyone in, such and such hurt me. And then the story builds the armor, and the stories build more and more and more of this protection. So cassia and cinnamon bark being heating oils, they're very warmly speaking into us, singing into us. Does this serve you? Does this amount of armor right here, right now, actually serve your higher good and the higher good of all that you're summoning to you? Because how can we let the fullness of love in if we're sitting here with armor all over our hearts? How can we feel fully in our power and allow creation energy to flow through us if we're armoring over this whole belly area, our solar plexus, our sacral? Yeah, how can we let those energies to flow through us? So cassia and cinnamon bark work beautifully to open the heart center. And you'll see in here, there's a whole section on cacao, a little bit of cacao magic. And I often mix the barks with the cacao and then something like black pepper and a citrus or some rose oil, so that it helps you to open your heart again, because cacao, the medicine of cacao, actually works with the heart and the heart center. You know, the gift of cacao is sumptuousness, heart opening. You know, it's harmonizing. It's opening us up to the field of love. And when you align that with the barks, you're allowing yourself to just slip into the velvety arms of that part of the tree. So they also remind us, like working with something like cassia, of that deep reverence we can choose to fall back into within ourselves. Deep reverence of self and of the earth. And the roots take us deeply into this space of deep honoring and reverence for the ancient wisdom held within the earth, held within the very cells of her children, the animals, plants, rocks, stones, waterways. So as we work with something like spikenard and vetiver, we start to connect deeply with unlocking our connection to and our access to this wisdom that's held deep within the earth. So the roots themselves go nice and deep, deep down. They give us that feeling of grounding that a lot of you mentioned earlier, that real grounding, that earthing, something to come back to. We feel at home in her sacred womb space. Yeah. We go into that place for deep nurturing, to be held. Yeah, when we feel like life is spiraling out of control, vetiver or spikenard or both on the soles of the feet. The turmeric and the ginger, which are the rhizome energy, the energy of their roots, like physically they seep down into the earth, not as far as a root. The root will go, you know, straight down and then splay across. The rhizomes go down and then they splay across. So one you feel like is going more vertical and one's horizontal. It's not quite that simple, but it gives you an idea. And with the rhizomes, you'll see the roots are kind of bundled up like this and kind of interconnected. It's beautiful. We grow fresh turmeric here, and I always marvel at it. It's just gorgeous. It's just this pods of golden goodness. So the turmeric and the ginger tap us into that beautiful golden ray, the golden ray of abundance, of God's light, of divine light. They tap us into opening ourselves to receive our birthright, to reclaim that, to feel joyous. That golden ray brings us back to our natural state of joy. Yeah. So they journey with us, for those of us needing to explore more deeply self-confidence, self-assurance, self-acceptance, because they work with our confidence. They'll work with solar plexus energy really beautifully. So your power center, your place of coming back to who am I here, right now. They're warming oils. They're amazing for your constitution, for robustness, for resilience. They're ones that you want to lean into, not just in the winter months, but in the turning of the seasons where you feel maybe a little more vulnerable, where you're feeling like change is afoot. They'll bring you back to that anchor place. So if you imagine the roots are this real grounding energy, and the rhizomes are like an anchor on a boat. It'll hold you there, but you have room to move. You can kind of drift across the waters, and then you just kind of come back to that centrifugal point of home. You can combine them together. You can do like what I did earlier, two earth oils here, Hawaiian sandalwood and vetiver, with the flower of geranium and then the fruit of green mandarin. Or you can just work with earth element oils on their own, for instance, any of the elements for that matter, as you more deeply get to know them. And, as you get to know maybe some of your lesser known oils, just take the lid off and just work with one at a time, and feel the spirit of that. And that's how you'll kind of get to this place with them as well. Yeah. Okay, Adam.
So now you know, and as we do know, doTERRA loves to bring out new oils from time to time, especially in September. If they bring out another oil that is a wood oil, a root oil, or a bark oil, that's going to give you an indication that, okay, that's going to have these kinds of qualities of grounding, stability, resilience, boundaries, and support, just like balsam fir that came out late last year as well. Let's move on to our next element, the element of water. What words come to mind when you think of water? So whether it be the ocean, a stream, a lake, Pisces, Scorpios, and Cancerians, what do you find comes up for you with the element of water? Calm, beautiful, flow, yeah, nice. Here are some of the words that we use a lot in our book. I want you to think about when you've had a bit of a rough day and you go and have a shower. You immerse yourself in the water. And what's the effect of that? You feel better. And so what we found is that the water element is very much to do with the emotional realm, how we're feeling in that time. Now, what part of the plant would be associated with the emotional realm? Well, which part of the plant do we associate with love? You'd be a bit disappointed if you got a bunch of leaves for Valentine's Day. So it's the flowers. And when we think about the flowers, their action is actually to open up to the world, to open up to everything. And sometimes when we are hurt, we close on down. But when we close on down, we don't only protect ourselves from hurt, we actually don't open ourselves up to receiving any love or the good stuff as well. Each in their individual way, the flowers will help you to open up, to experience more of life, to experience the color of life. Speaking of color, the Greeks and the Romans used to attribute the different colored flowers to the different astrological bodies in the sky. And you'll find this table that we have at the bottom of the slide on page 69 in our book. And any plant that has a white flower, especially any oils that come from white flower, have a strong connection to the moon. Red is Mars, and so on. So we'd love to talk about, we could talk about flowers probably for 2 hours, but we'd love to know about which ones you have, maybe which floral oils you have in your collection that you're not using much, or if you have any favorites as well. Pop them in the chat, and Vanessa and I will do our best to talk about some of them. I'm going to start off very briefly with neroli, because I know that's 10% off in North America at the moment. And neroli is an absolutely amazing oil to work with around the full moon. It's a white flower, so any of the white flowers have a strong connection to the full moon. Neroli has a long history of beckoning people outside of their comfort zone. It is said that nymphs used to use the scent of neroli, which is the orange blossom, to beckon young men and women out of their bedchambers at night into the forest for a night of pleasure and ecstasy. It has also been used traditionally on the beds of brides on their first night to help them relax with their first night with their husband. At the same time, ladies of the night would use the scent of neroli to seduce their clients. And even Cleopatra used neroli along with Jasmine and anointed her sails when she sailed up the Nile to go and seduce Mark Antony. So this has a really seductive kind of energy about it. Now, it doesn't just, although it is to do with sensuality and sexuality, it doesn't just have to be with that, about that. Neroli does work really well with the sacral chakra, which governs our intimate relationships. Intimacy, again, doesn't need to be romantic. It just means opening up to people a bit more and showing who we truly are, showing our authentic self. The interesting thing is, neroli invites you out of your comfort zone to think outside the box. And there's actually been research that was found when two groups were exposed, one to the scent of neroli and one to the scent of nothing. The group that was smelling neroli was able to pass a test and think outside the square far better than the control group type of thing. So when we think about the full moon, we often go, oh, I would love to, I want more this, less this, that kind of thing. We want the universe to bring a change. So it's kind of like, here's my life, universe. Can you up that a little bit? But if we're still operating on this kind of vibrational match, we need to kind of match that. We need to be the change we want to see in our lives. And neroli gives you the courage to do that. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. So neroli seduces you out of your comfort zone to a more exciting life. Now that can work really beautifully in harmony with jasmine, which is probably my favorite essential oil for the full moon. Does anyone find on the day of the full moon that they get a little bit kind of crazy or overwhelmed? What happens on the full moon day? The full moon is the most amplified yin energy. It's a time to be contemplative, meditative, and all that type of thing. Jennifer finds her kids go nuts, yeah. So the two things with the full moon amplifies the energy. So if you only meditate one morning a month, make that on the full moon. Get up a little bit earlier, set the day. Because if you wake up stressed or stub your toe or running late or angry or something like that, it'll just get amplified throughout the day. If you can start it nice and calm, then that helps. The other thing is, we're always like, no one takes a day off on a full moon day. We're go, 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 go. We're in that state of action. Whereas jasmine and the full moon encourage us just to take a bit more ease and grace throughout the day so that we don't become those lunar ticks. Now, the other great thing about jasmine is you'll notice in our book that Vanessa and I wanted to, to help you recognize whether each oil has a yin or a yang energy. We refer to the oils as him and her. We got really stuck when it came to jasmine. Jasmine is known as the king of the flowers, but still has this really kind of queen-like energy about it. And we're kind of stuck on what energy jasmine had. Then as we started to explore a little bit more and kind of flesh this out, we thought about the full moon. The moon is actually the color of bitumen or asphalt, the color of our roads. And it is the sun, the great symbol of the masculine energy that illuminates the moon and gives her full power, is that merging of that masculine and feminine. So jasmine is a great aphrodisiac. It's great for fertility. It's great for merging the masculine and feminine. So whether that be bringing a new life into the world or you giving birth to a goal, it requires some masculine energy of action and practicality and what steps are we going to take. But it also requires that heart and that nurturing to make sure that we nurture that goal until it comes to its full fruition. And jasmine allows us to do that. The final thing with jasmine, when you think about it, has such a strong connection to the night of the full moon. Jasmine blossoms at night, and the flowers are the pictures or the shape of white stars. So imagine, if you will, a field of jasmine, all these stars on the ground, mirroring a field of stars above us. So jasmine actually has a real galactical or universal or heavenly energy, and allows us, like with its euphoric aroma, to get swept up in the magic of the world. Now you can use it at any time, but it really helps you to flow with the magic that comes around the full moon as well. So those are just a couple of examples of flowers that are really nice to use anytime we want to bring in that energy, but especially on the full moon. Vanessa.
Thanks, Adam. Okay, so the pink flowers, we have requests for geranium and rose. So as Adam said, we have some beautiful stories that we tell behind the birthing of these plants into life. So let me read you a little on Rose because she's so beautiful and so many love her. This will take you on a deeper understanding of just how magnificent she is. Throughout this book, you will find many myths that have long been used and long been told about various plants. One is, it's often that one god or hero creates a certain plant and associated with its creation. But let's look at Rose. So Rose required a collective of deities to create the queen of the flowers. According to the Greeks, Rose was shaped by the goddess of flowers, Chloris. One day she found the lifeless body of a nymph in the woods, and she turned her into a flower. She called upon Aphrodite, goddess of love, to bless the flower with beauty. Dionysus, the god of wine, added nectar to her sweet fragrance. Zephyrus, god of the west wind, blew the clouds away so that the sun god Apollo shone down to make this flower bloom. From these delicate petals comes one of the world's most precious essential oils. Rose opens the heart to receive more love, to return to love. She invites us to return to our natural state of love. Our hearts are naturally magnetic, where our brain sends out an electric signal, an electrical current out to the universe with our intentions, like for full moon time. It's actually our heart that aligns the miracle with our physical self to bring it to us. So our hearts are these magnets for miracles. When you work with Rose, she brings to you the gift of love. My gift to you is love, she says. And the three words we have with her are desire, magnetism, and beauty. Her affirmation is, my heart is a magnet for love and miracles. So you can use her on her own, anointing her, your rose touch or your 5 ml rose if you have the 5 ml rose, and anointing the parts of you that feel they need more loving. And it's not always the heart. It's not only the heart. Sometimes there are other parts of us that we need to align. And don't forget that the heart chakra, as everyone goes to the front here, but there's also the back to work on as well. So you might want to anoint the back, yeah, to just bring everything into alignment. Let the wings of your heart unfurl, so to speak. So we have a beautiful blend here called Grateful Hearts, and gratitude is the highest form of receivership. So we've combined frankincense with green mandarin, another amazing heart chakra oil, with spikenard and rose. As you work with blending, you might put them in a spritzer, roller bottle, aromatic dressing, diffuser. Allow yourself to really notice, like fully be aware, rather than just putting them in the diffuser and be done with it. Become fully aware on how they're working on your home, on yourself, what they're dissolving, what they're releasing, what they're amplifying. And geranium's a beautiful one to invite into your life when you want to dissolve density around your heart, grief, anger, frustration, self-loathing, when you feel like you can't connect in the space of self-love, self-appreciation. Let her be your heart guardian. Let her be the one that stands at the doors of your heart and says, knock, knock. Remember, let love in. And rather than keeping yourself shut down. So she's a beautiful one to mix with the cinnamon bark or the cassia, for instance, or both, and add something like pink pepper. And we'll explore pink pepper in a moment, but bring in that more of that energy of love. So for geranium, we have, I open myself to give love and to receive love. Yeah. And do you remember I mentioned the practices earlier? Let's quickly do one now. So it doesn't matter if you don't have your essential oils with you. If you just close your eyes for a moment, and geranium has a very distinct, very memorable fragrance. Just summon that fragrance to you. Summon the gifts of geranium to you now. And when you do this after this session, bring your geranium to the practice. And now just visualize that beautiful flower, the geranium, at your heart center. Just breathe that beautiful image into your heart center. And as you inhale her aroma, imagine the flower slowly expanding, opening and expanding until the flower covers your entire heart center, and your whole torso, completely covered and blessed by this beautiful flower. Sense those pink petals now. Just sense them, get a feeling of them touching every single cell and organ in your body, feeding and nourishing them with love. With each inhalation of geranium, feel these beautiful waves of love washing over you. As you fill with love, be reminded in this moment to give generously of love. As you give, you receive. As you receive, you give. And feel that beautiful cycle between your heart and the heart of the world. Pouring gratitude into Mama Gaia, the animals, the plants, crystals, and the loved ones in your life. Extending out across the globe to those that you don't know, but your soul knows, because you're family. Notice how you feel. Take a deep breath, smile, place your hand over your heart. Give thanks in the way that you do. And exhale and release. And when you're ready, just open your eyes. Okay, Adam.
Journeying now from the element of water, let's head over to the element of air. And I'd love to know what words come to mind when you think of the air. The wind and the breeze outside. Logic, yeah, Tanya, beautiful. Yep, think about your Geminis, your Aries, and your Librans. Lightness. Perfect. Here are some of the words we use. Thought, intellect, perspective, freedom, and focus. So think about the difference between water and air. What happens when we can't think properly? We go outside and do what? Get some fresh air. So whereas the water realm is to do with the emotional realm, the air realm is to do with the mental realm. And when you think about those signs that are governed by the element of air, the Aquarians, the Geminis, and the Librans, they're always in their head. They're always in their mind. So what part of the plant is associated with the element of air? The part that dances in the wind. It's the leaves and the needles. And you'll actually see from the rather extensive list here on the page, oils gifted to us from leaves is quite a more common thing than any other part of the plant. So you'll find this section quite a large section. Now, we also found that there's kind of two subcategories in here. There are the small plant leaf oils. So these are ones like basil, like oregano, like rosemary, and so on. And these, when they're from a small plant or herb, they help to focus the mind. Whereas the big tree leaf oils, these are your cypresses, your firs, your spruces, your eucalyptuses, these help to open the mind. So there are sometimes when we want to focus, and there are sometimes when we need to be a bit more open-minded and kind of clear the cobwebs out. And that's where the big trees can be really beneficial. So which are your favorite leaf oils? Let us know in the chat and we'll try do our best to talk about a few of them. While you're typing, I might just kind of talk a little bit about Divana. Am I right in saying that Divana is available as a bit of a promotion at the moment in Canada? Yes. And your jasmine essential oil that we can't get in Australia? We're not jealous at all. Anyway, Divana is gifted to us from a leaf. It's native to India. It normally grows actually quite close to where the sandalwood grows, has these little yellow flowers on it, and butterflies love it. Shiva is actually in Hinduism dedicated to Shiva, who's the god of destruction and death. Now, why would we want to work with Divana if it is all about death and destruction? Because in order to grow, in order to evolve, we must let go of the old. A monkey swinging through the trees can't grab hold of a new tree with its new fruit if it's still hanging on to the old branch. When leaves fall to the ground, they decay and fertilize the new growth coming through in that type of way. So Shiva helps us to let go in order for us to, to grow. And when you think that butterflies love the scent of the diviner, a butterfly must, a caterpillar must go into its cocoon, must go into its darkness, must face the, become a mushy mess kind of thing in order to have that true freedom. So diviner helps us with that. Now, the really fun thing that if we're all sitting in a room, I'd grab the divine touch and I'd pass it around and I encourage everyone to roll it on. And if we'd smell it after about 5 minutes, we'd all smell totally different. And what I love about this is not only does diviner show you your own natural magic, but it helps you to see the magic in other people. There's so much division in parts of the world right now, when division and diversity is the magic in the world. The eagle doesn't mock the bear because he can't fly. And the oak tree doesn't mock the vine because it doesn't grow as tall. We each have a unique gift and role to play, and diviner allows us to see that and to let go of all this rubbish and these attitudes that, oh, you're not the same as me. The time has come when we have to step out of our sister circles and our kumbaya circles and embrace people that are different to us, rather than just try and gather the like-minded souls together in that type of way, because everyone needs our help, whether it be with doTERRA or just, loving support in that type of way. So diviner is a really beautiful one to work with in that way. The other one I'll talk about, sorry if I'm stealing yours, I'm not sure, I just glanced down at the chat, but I want to talk a little bit about spearmint. So basically we have our two main mints. We've got our peppermint and our spearmint, and now also the bergamot mint. But peppermint and spearmint, I refer to them as day mint and night mint. What do I mean by that? So peppermint is day mint. It's really good for, we know if we pop a drop of peppermint in our hand, breathe it in, it's like a slap in the face. It wakes you up. So it's really good. It works really well with the third eye chakra for awareness and clarity. What am I doing with my life? What am I doing today? All that type of thing. Now, spearmint is night mint. We know it's got lower menthol, so it's a little bit softer and gentler. And it's the one I recommend using if you need some alertness after the sun goes down. The other thing is, in ancient times, they would use spearmint and they would smell it if people were studying things like metaphysics, the greater mysteries of life, the occult, all the kind of things that we're kind of talking about today. Spearmint is known for alerting us to those more subtle energies. In the past, I used to believe a lot more in unicorns and dragons and fairies and so on. Maybe they're still around, but it's just that we have too many lights on, or the radio is too loud that we don't hear those more subtle energies. So what I'm really encouraging people to do, especially this month, as Pluto goes into retrograde soon, is to do a technology detox where for at least 3 nights in a row, all technology goes off and you don't touch the phone, and you just diffuse spearmint with as little light as possible, and just notice what comes up. It's amazing how much we use technology to grab our attention or to babysit us or to distract us. And what would happen if you just sat with a bit of spearmint that helps us to become more aware of subtle energies and see what comes up? Have a play with that. Vanessa.
I was just taking a mouthful of water, sorry. So I want to dive into black spruce. He's definitely still one of my favorites. I feel so deeply connected with the magic and majesty that this particular plant brings. He is taking us, like when I meditate with this essential oil, this is where I feel like I'm just dancing in the void, where I feel like I'm in that infinite realm of possibilities, where I'm immersed in and blessed by pure grace and the miraculous. So you'll see in the species name of black spruce, Picea mariana, which takes us deeply into the connection and association with Mary, Mother Mary. So we have Mother Mary, the nurturer, she who brought Christ to this earth. We have the energy of the Black Madonna, and we also have Mary Magdalene. So the energy of Mary is powerful, a powerful force behind taking us into connection with how we can bring magic and majesty to our lives by tapping into the awe and wonder and revelation of this universe. of this place where we can dive into that infinite realm of possibilities and extract from there, or magnetize to us, that energy of rose, remember, magnetize to us whatever it is we choose. So black spruce, resilience, awe, and revelation are the three words we've associated with him. And my gift to you, says black spruce, is eternal wonder. Eternal wonder. So, you know, you can look at this in many different ways. The wonder of life. So that's often where I just immediately go. That's where I feel it. And then I tap into the wonder of life within me, how this sacred vessel keeps everything going without me even thinking about it. And I just drop to my knees in awe of that. And that energy of Mary reminds me of, how can I look after me a little more? How can I nurture me a little more? How can I take me into a place of, you know, loving myself as I would a child, or as Mother Mary would love me? Yeah. So black spruce, just to finish up, is a beautiful essential oil to tap into your soul wisdom. So for those that love to meditate and go into that deep remembrance, this is a gorgeous essential oil to work with. And just like jasmine, when you behold jasmine, remember Adam was saying it's as above, so below. You see this sea of stars below you because of the shape of jasmine. It's very similar when you're looking at the black spruce, the connection points, the way the shape of the trees comes together. It's like a sea of stars. So black spruce is a beautiful essential oil to enter into that sacred place of magic. When I want to go into the mysteries hidden, the darker mysteries that are so full of light, that certain dogma are put down as maybe pagan or, you know, judged, black spruce is a beautiful one to bring us back into the connection of that light connection with the seasons, you know, and how we can move and change with the magic of the seasons and the cycles of the moon. So black spruce is beautiful for any of you really wanting to kind of get your goddess on. Then we have lemongrass, which I'll quickly touch on. Lemongrass is like this beautiful golden sword of light that you can cast before you and all around you to bring protection, to take you into a deeper state of conscious action for what serves you, severing ties and bonds that don't serve you, enhancing deeper connections with those that do serve you, allowing lemongrass to purify and cleanse and clean your space. Physically cleaning with lemongrass will do this as well, like your countertops and, you know, spraying around your home. The energy of lemongrass is powerful. So I'll often work with lemongrass, summoning the energy of Archangel Michael, just to cut any ties that don't serve me, sever any connections within my home, you know, old energies that don't serve myself or my beautiful family. So this is definitely the sword of light. This is very much that energy of, you know, making your home a sanctuary of light again. And we actually have a beautiful blend in here called Sanctuary of Light, and it's lemongrass, ginger, and Hawaiian sandalwood. And I said to you, I'll share a little bit on how we bring it together in the master blend section. This is on 135 of our book. So it is paramount that you have a space to rest, revive, and regenerate. Lemongrass clears the space to unveil a blessed space to call your own. For respite during your mission as a light worker on this planet. So we need that space. We need to create a space of silence and stillness to recharge our batteries. Hawaiian sandalwood maintains a clear link between you and the divine as you enter your inner sanctuary, recharging your light with warmth of ginger. Anoint yourself with these oils to deepen your meditation practice and enhance your ability to retreat to this sacred place throughout the day. You can also spritz this trio around your meditation or healing space to bless and consecrate the area. So I noticed someone was from New Zealand, and we have Palma Rosa at the moment as our product of the month for Australia, New Zealand market. And Palma Rosa is this beautiful energy bringing love to us. So she's like your sword of love, or your opener to love, your magic wand of love, however it is you see her. So one's bringing the light and casting the light forth, and the other's casting forth with love. Yeah, so powerful essential oils to work with at this time of chaos and mayhem and deep doubt, and also to enter into introspection with, because lemongrass helps to cast a light forward and to clear out what isn't your own. So purifying the thoughts, your mind, purifying your heart, the emotions, your body and your will forces, your spirit, your capacity to connect with what is your truth, not just truth that other people are feeding down your throat. Yeah? Okay.
So to very briefly wrap up the other two that were mentioned, cilantro. Cilantro is great physically for detoxing heavy metals, heaviness that weighs us down in our body. So metaphysically, it's really good for helping us to detox the heaviness that we carry in our lives. Normally, humans are meaning-making machines. You and I can both go see a movie and we walk out and I'm like, that was the best movie. And you're like, that was rubbish. Was the movie good or bad? It was just a movie, and life is just life. And we sit there all the time going, this is good, this is bad. Cilantro allows us to see the good in the bad and the bad in the good, and realize how bad things serve us and good things can actually be detrimental to us as well. And it's a great balancer for anything that's holding you back or weighing you down, especially in your thoughts. Rosemary is known as rosemary for remembrance. It helps with the memory, but on a spiritual level, it actually works really well with the crown chakra for reminding us why we're here. Sometimes you find people that are a bit off with the fairies and they're off, trying to escape to the 15th dimension and all their different types of things. We are here to have a physical experience, and rosemary reminds the soul what your purpose is here to do, to get in here, to embrace life and stop trying to escape into spiritual pursuits as well. Okay, let's dive into our next element, the element of fire. What words come to mind when you think of fire? Hot, yes. Action, yeah, very much, Tanya. Perfect. Passion, that's one of my other favorites as well. Oh, yes, Giselle, renewing, perfect. I love that. One of the things that often comes up with fire, people say destruction. And I remember, when I was in Yosemite National Park a few years ago, and there'd just been the massive wildfires that had gone through and killed off a whole bunch of pine trees. And I said to the ranger, this is devastating. He said, no, you're thinking like a human, not like a forest. You see, what had happened is the pine trees had dominated that landscape for so long that their acidic needles, when they dropped to the ground, they'd kill off everything else. And he said, what you're going to find for the years to come now is a brand new forest will regenerate now that the pine trees aren't dominating. So anything to do with fire is about transformation. It closes some doors, it burns off some things, and brings new life to different things. Even, I don't know if any of you got cistus in the ancient oils collection, and that's a leaf oil, but the cistus plant, its seeds drop to the ground and they don't germinate until a wildfire goes through. So it brings new life as well. So the aspect or the part of a plant that's associated with fire is the fruit. When we think fruit, when we eat it, it gives us energy, to give us exuberance and courage and bring us into action. But more importantly, the fruit's role is to nurture the seeds within, to bring new life out of those seeds and to generate new plants and trees. When it comes to change, I get a lot of correspondence where people are like, what oil would you recommend to make my husband more this or to make my kids less this? And I don't know how you're finding it going, but I'm not doing too well at changing other people. And what fire teaches us is that we must be the change we want to see in the world. And a great way at looking at inner transformation and inner harmony is by looking at the chakras. And the cool thing about the fruits is they're all bright colors and they all correspond perfectly to the different chakras. You can see that on the table here, and you'll also find that in the table in the book as well. So let us know which fruits you'd like to know a little bit more about in the comment section. While we're waiting for that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the heart chakra fruits. So it's lime, green mandarin, and pink pepper. So first of all, green mandarin is obviously a bit of a special oil when it comes to the citrus oils, because it's the only oil that comes from an unripe fruit. So all the mandarins, but especially green mandarin, has a very childlike energy. So it brings that childlike energy into the heart. Think about children and their lack of discrimination. They will play with anyone. They don't care how much money they've got. They don't care what color their skin is. They don't care what religion they are. As long as you're nice to me, I'm going to be nice to you. That's what a kid says. And so when we need to be a bit more playful, green mandarin works really well in that way. All the mandarins. Yellow mandarin's great when we're too busy adulting and don't have time for fun, to remind us to have fun in that. So when you need, if you're doing any inner child work, anything to come back to that buoyant, playful heart, that's green mandarin. Now, lime is a bit more serious. It's a bit more, the gift of lime is very much about zest, and it has this kind of warrior energy, warrior of the heart. And so it really helps us to follow the lead of the heart, to clear away the density around the heart. In places like Malaysia, it is believed that evil spirits hate the aroma of lime. So they'll use lime to dispel evil spirits and demons and that type of thing. Now, we may not have demons running around, these little haunted things under the bed kind of thing, but we all have our demons that we're dealing with, things that cause the heart to close down, things that have hurt us in the past, things that we're worried about, things that we're anxious about. And lime allows us to find that balance and to overcome that and be, cast away the darkness and to embrace that joy. Now, pink pepper is a really, really fun one as well. The interesting thing about the heart chakra, and when I teach about the heart chakra, I always focus on this fact that each of the chakras is based on a color, but the heart is green and pink, because the heart chakra is about our ability to give love to the world, but also our ability to receive love from the world. And lots of people I find are really good at one way, but not the other. There are probably, I'm sure even in your doTERRA family, some really giving, loving, generous people. But if you pay them a compliment or try and help them out, they're like, oh, no, it's okay. They can't receive love. So pink pepper is a really interesting one. And we have one of our strong leaders in my team who actually has been through breast cancer. And she uses pink pepper and aromatically dresses and anoints it on her breast a couple of times a week, because it's known to be anti-mutagenic, things getting out of control. Now, pink pepper is really good also for clarity of the heart and discernment of the heart. And it's a really good one for what I call tongue biters. Is there anyone here who tends to be a tongue? What I mean by a tongue biter is they don't, when something upsets them or annoys them, they bite their tongue. They don't say anything. And come on, Canadians, I know you're renowned for being polite. There's that, I'll just keep the peace. I don't want to upset anyone. I don't want to rock the boat in that kind of way. And I'm one of those people. I'm not used to conflict. And so I'll just keep it quiet. And as we know, when we have an emotion, when we have a feeling, when we have a thought, if it is not expressed and released and it's repressed, it festers. And if you know the work of Louise L. Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, she talks about holding those things in and how they manifest, how they could manifest even to things as bad as cancer in that type of way. So pink pepper works holistically to help us to lovingly, compassionately, kindly express in a positive way what we're feeling and what we're thinking, because the people in our lives deserve us to be more authentic. Because when we don't say how we feel, we're lying to them. We're hiding things from them. We're keeping secrets. And we may go, oh, it's just to keep the peace, but we're not giving them a genuine experience. So these three oils really help us to open the heart and to bring changes in the heart in different ways. Vanessa.
Okay, so I can see bergamot there, so I'll dive in. Bergamot is now only found and sourced in the south of Italy, Calabria. So I'm from Sicily, so just like a hop, skip, and a jump from Calabria, which is where our lemons are from. Sicily is sourced in Calabria and Sicily. So the bergamot has incredible chemistry actually to work with enlivening the spirit, with altering our mood state very, very quickly. This is known as liquid sunshine in a bottle. This is that place we can come back to shift and alter our moods, our emotions, to kind of press that reset button. It's one that's used frequently in old age homes in certain countries, especially where there is a lot of darkness, where there are longer periods of dark days, like in the winter and in countries where they don't experience a lot of sunlight. So bergamot is like that zhuzh that brings light and life into being. A beautiful essential oil to work with self-acceptance, going deeper into your self-worth, into abundance issues. Anyone wanting to clear out abundance issues, your money story, your health story. Abundance has many ways, yeah? So bergamot helps us, and the citruses in general really help us to tap into that beautifully. So you have, health, wealth, prosperity, love, yeah? So you can work with the citruses in profound ways to bring that in. Bergamot helps us to shine a light where it feels darkest, externally, so in a spritzer bottle, but also internally. Where do we feel dark and glum? Where do we feel like we're not connecting with a part of ourselves, a part that we've kind of stuffed down? And you could bring, just as we're in this fire element, something like bergamot, black pepper, juniper berry, and wild orange to come together. And remember what I said about lemongrass? Add just a little touch of lemongrass to cut through that, to really shine a light on the parts that aren't shared within you. You just don't share them with anyone, because maybe you've been conditioned that it's not what a good person does. But when you come back to the light of who you are, you remember that all of you is magnificent. You start to trust that again. And bergamot awakens this sense of the prosperous spirit soaring. Yeah, so you connect more deeply with that. On page 176, there is an amazing, beautiful little practice there that Adam has shared. And it's very magical. And I don't know anyone who's done it where they haven't received this abundance, but I want you all to read it. I'm not going to share it now. I want you to open book and read it and actually do it and let us know how it goes. It's a practice that has completely changed lives. Litsia is another one that someone mentioned here. So Litsia has this energy of joviality, of the laughter coming in, where we summon love and light to us, add laughter to it. Laughter is the repeller of everything that doesn't serve you. That's why we see laughing Buddhas, not crying Buddhas. The laughter amplifies your energy. The laughter takes you into deeper waves of gratitude. The laughter takes you into your sovereignty as a joyous being, and into engaging in your life as a spiritual being with joy, with laughter. We don't have to be so serious. Yeah. So when laughter echoes throughout the chambers of your heart, that ricochets out into the world, and you bring more of that joy to you. It's renewing, it's enlivening. We have a beautiful blend here called Elevate Your Mood with Litsia, frankincense, green mandarin, and wild orange. You could easily just put Litsia, bergamot, yeah, and some of that frankincense together, and that would elevate your mood. Just kind of as we speak, and you're furiously taking your notes, start to feel the essential oils, the parts of the plants that you feel aligned with, and bring their gifts together, and just have confidence blending your own melodies together. Don't worry so much about top, middle, bass notes. Create the synergies from your heart space. And like I said earlier, then just take them and, drop one and lift one. And if it doesn't smell right, just add another something to it to balance it out. Does it need more depth? Does it need more wood? Does it need more laughter? Yeah. Now that we're working through the elements with you, and we've gone through these 4 magical elements so far, you will journey more deeply within yourself as you create your blends. Some days you'll just feel them glowing in your box, and they'll just jump out at you, and you'll just feel it, and you'll pop it in your diffuser, and you're aromatically dressed, and that's it. But other times, maybe you just want to turn inward and look at, what is my intention for today? What am I devoted to today? What do I want to bring to my life this day? And then remember what we've shared about the elements and the gifts they bring. Are you wanting a fresh perspective? Are you wanting a broad perspective, or to focus? Is it the air element you need? Do you need to just kind of hunker down and sink into the arms of the Great Mother? Feel connected to the earth. You feel like you're just off with pixies and just kind of flying around and not really present. Do you need the earth to ground you? Yeah. So go deep into the elements as you create intentional blends for yourself. Adam.
Okay, so we've taken you through a journey of the 4 magical elements of air, earth, water, and fire. But you may have noticed that we've missed 2 parts of plants that gift us essential oils. Who can work out what one or both of them are? What other parts we've missed out on? Roots. We did roots at the start. That was our earth element. Resin. Yes, resin's one of them. What else? Give you a hint. Cardamom, coriander, celery, dill, seeds. Yes. So these 2 belong to what we refer to as the 5th element. Now, the 5th element, what is sometimes referred to as akasha or ether, or sometimes just spirit. Now, or soul, exactly. Whereas what we can kind of see the other 4 manifesting in forms throughout the world, akasha or spirit is that deep thing within us. It is our soul. We feel that we have something within us, but we can't kind of pinpoint where the soul sits or where exactly it is. Or, what is it within a seed that tells it to germinate and sprout out beyond the soil and head towards the light in that type of way. So each of the oils that come from the resin or the seed help us get to our core, the spirit of who we are, the inner truth and the inner wisdom, and unlock all our potentiality that lies within us in that way. So when it comes to the seeds, each of the seeds unlocks a different potentiality within us. So, for example, cardamom. Cardamom is great for unlocking. It's a really great stimulant. It's really great for circulation. It's really good for respiratory and digestion. It gets things moving. I want you to think for just one moment about anger and passion. Both very fiery emotions, but anger doesn't have an outlet. It's kind of frustrated and caught up, whereas passion flows. And cardamom is really good for helping us move from anger over to passion and find constructive ways to direct the fieriness within, to get that circulating through our body and through our lives. Coriander seed, like cilantro, is very good for dropping off those heavy metals, and coriander seed helps us with integrity, being the best and authentic version of ourselves, but not only to other people, but to ourselves and putting ourselves first. Celery seed reminds us of our own magic and how to get out of comparison. Fennel shows us that we have choice in life, and that when we decide to make the right choices, we don't get doubled over and cramped over in pain. Dill helps awaken our ingenuity, our intelligence, our cumin, our courage, and our tenacity. And then we have cacao and vanilla. Vanilla, found in blends like Whisper and Citrus Bliss, brings in pleasure into our lives. Cacao Absolute, I really love that it's found in both the women's blend, Whisper, and the men's blend, Amavi, because the gift of cacao is sumptuousness. It has been used historically as a form of currency. And as Vanessa mentioned at the top of this session, it's to do with the heart chakra and opening up to that joy, that luxuriating and sumptuousness. Now, if the Creator created all the different delights, the smorgasbord of delights on the earth for all our senses, if we were to ignore them and not relish them, is that not disrespectful? If I gave you a gift and you never used it, I'd be a bit upset. And so cacao teaches us all that we deserve, both women and men, to enjoy life the whole way through, to enjoy the journey. That sumptuousness and pleasure are not something we earn when we worked hard and now we deserve it, but we deserve to enjoy it because we're human, and that's part of the experience as well. So the seeds unlock hidden powers within us, and I think they get neglected, but they're a really great one to work with individually or to put into your blends to bring out more potential. I'll hand over to Vanessa to talk about the resins.
Thanks, Adam. That was beautiful. So the resins are magnificent to work with. There's some of my favorite essential oils there. So I'll just highlight copaiba, frankincense, and myrrh. We have the energy with frankincense really summoning to us the energy of the sacred or the divine masculine, and with myrrh, the divine or sacred feminine. Copaiba brings this beautiful gift of knowing thyself. They work with our divine self. They work with understanding ourselves deeply, the resins. They remind us how resilient and how strong we are, how much we can overcome adversity and find within all adversity those seeds of greater potential within us. So the resins, if you look at it, they're actually wounded for us to receive their resin that then creates the essential oil. So for frankincense and myrrh, an incision is made. And for copaiba, like the maple, they're tapped so that the essence, their soul essence, the sap is what comes out. Yeah. So they're also known as frankincense or myrrh tears. So the tears of the tree, the blood of the tree, the essence of the tree. So really what you're connecting with is the core parts of the tree. So the resins connect you with your core, your truth, your majesty. Frankincense reminds you of your magic, your majesty, your kingliness, your queenliness, the divinity within you that lies within you, lies within all. And so he helps you to connect with that. He's like jumping in an elevator and hitting the button to that penthouse suite and boom, straight, direct line to the divine. Yeah. Myrrh takes you into that beautiful place of wounding around the feminine. It could be mother wounding, it could be sisters, fellow sisters, where you feel like you've lost trust with that feminine energy. So she takes you into a place of trusting that again, of opening to that again, of healing that wound or that severing. And oftentimes that's come from past lives, you know, where we've been, if you believe in past lives, where we've been persecuted and we've cut off from the sanctity and the magic of the feminine. Myrrh works really beautifully with regrets, grief, and also with any womb work that you want to do, sacred womb work or sacred womb healing. Working with myrrh and rose together are very powerful allies. They are all incredible for the skin. It's our greatest organ of the body. It's an amazing way to nurture and nourish ourselves. So putting them in your aromatic dressing really nourishes the skin at a deep level, as well as benefiting your emotions, your mental body, and your spirits. Yeah. Okay, Adam. I think this question.
Sure, I'm just reading it.
Yes, same. I had a question about how to best use based on nature's intentions for these oils. Okay. Do you want to just unmute, Jennifer, and tell me what you mean there? I'm not understanding what you mean. Sorry, honey.
Yeah, so just in the sense of, I mean, we know that we can use doTERRA's oils aromatically and internally and topically, but based on like historically speaking or the intention of nature, how is best to use all these oils as you've described them? So, you know, using a certain oil for this purpose or for this purpose. I mean, is it just use all three ways, or is there a specific intention you feel that nature intended us to use essential oils specifically?
From my experience, sorry, Vanessa.
No, go, Adam.
From my experience, I always say as long as you get the oils in you, on you, or around you, they're going to work their magic. When we're working on this energetic level or metaphysical level that we've been talking about today, if they're dancing with you, they're going to have an impact kind of thing. So I would, you know, whether you're going to put pink pepper over your heart chakra, in your diffuser, or in your water, it's all going to help in that way. Remember, though, that the oils work as your friends, as your companions, to help you do what you know you need to do. And they're just kind of like those anchoring points to allow you to do that. They're not going to do it for you. You can't put pink pepper over your heart and suddenly you just start saying what you need to say. It'll help you to say what you need to say. Did you want to add to that, Vanessa?
Yeah, I mean, I think also Adam's right. It's true, everything he said. And also just remember that using them aromatically is powerful. I think that it can be underestimated with all of these amazing ways we can get them onto us, you know, and around us. But simply taking the lid off the bottle and inhaling, like consciously taking 3 deep breaths is phenomenal. It's such a direct access to the brain and altering what's going on with our chemistry in our brain. There's a question there about PTSD, and so it's a huge question, and I give you permission to message me. My internet's cutting in and out, but I give you permission to message me. We're going to give you the links at the end of this. So I'm happy to just kind of tune in with you. PTSD is, it's complex, it's complicated to work with, but I'll give you a general something. Creating aromatic anchors for anyone who's experienced trauma is powerful. So whether you just work with a single note or a blend that doTERRA has made, or a blend that you make yourself, that's up to you. But it's really important to create an anchor so that every time you inhale it, you're helping your whole self to return to the state that you're choosing. So if that's joy, if that's deep peace, if that's feeling more grounded, whatever it is you need as you're going through the trauma of whatever it is you're going through. Yeah? Does that help? So as you inhale, it goes up the nose. It's dancing up those and bouncing up against those olfactory bulbs. There's a roof there. If you just imagine a roof, just, and it because the essential oil molecules are so tiny, they permeate that membrane. That's that blood-brain barrier we talk about. They permeate that membrane and they enter the brain. Now, when you talk about, I hear a lot of people talk about, they go straight to the limbic system, which is the part that, it's our emotional control center, but it's also the part that creates memories. So what that means is instead of that hijack into quick flight, fight, freeze, right, which is what happens around trauma in just our everyday lives. That's our sympathetic system being activated to save us, to protect us. We actually can go to a different place creating aromatic anchors, which is where we activate and work with our parasympathetic system, which is much better on our nervous system and central nervous system, where we can come to, okay, let's just take a pause and look at what we need. There isn't really a saber-toothed tiger chasing us right now. What is it that we need? And you just stop for a moment and you aromatically anchor back to the place that you want to return to. Because with PTSD or any trauma, it's different for everyone what can trigger them. And even for each individual, they don't know when they're necessarily going to be triggered. Sometimes it's really obvious. For war veterans, sometimes it can be people talking about war. For someone who's been sexually abused, it can be around coming into intimate relationship with someone. But other things can trigger as well, and that's that complexity. And smell helps to overcome all of that. We're not talking about healing, we're talking about creating an aromatic anchor to alter our state. This is very powerful. There's a really powerful distinction there that needs to be made. Yeah. So you empower yourselves again through scent. So please never stop. Make sure this becomes a daily practice for you, where you just take the lids off the bottle and you inhale. And you'll remember in the beginning, I held up 4 essential oils and I said, take the lids off and inhale them. Feel what you want more of, what you want less of, and alter them. And you create like steps there. Yeah. So you don't need too much essential oil in anything. I work on about a 2.5% dilution. So for 10 mils of carry oil, the fractionated coconut oil, it's about 5 to 6 drops of essential oil. Yeah, for an aromatic dressing. So don't overdo it either. You can kind of overdo it to the senses. Let your senses just weave in the subtle realm with the essential oils. When you make pure fume creations, pulse point blends, then you can increase it, add more. You're just anointing on one spot of your body. It's not going over your whole body. That's okay. That's safe. But just go in small steps. Small steps. Start to reintroduce these essential oils into your life in a way so that you're actually connecting with the plant. You're connecting with the gifts. So Jennifer, back to your question, what are ways to use them? You use them all. Mama Gaia wants you to use them all in all ways. But maybe stop, pause, tune in to how you want to use them that day. Do you want to put them in some Epsom salts and bathe with them? Do you want to put a little bit on the soles of your feet and over your heart and stand on the earth and connect and ground and bring the light of the full moon in through your ajna, your third eye, and into your heart as you magnify your intentions that way? Like, what is it that you want? Become aware of what you're consciously creating and wanting to magnetize into your life, and then work with the essential oils in that way. They are intelligent, as are you. So work with both intelligences. Trust again. Yeah, trust again. Trust in your magic. You're all magical. So trust in that again. Yeah.
Okay, let's let you know where you can find out a little bit more about what we do. Vanessa, where can people find you?
So my main playground is Instagram. So you'll find me at Food Alchemy, as shown on the link there. And in my bio, you'll see all of my links. There's a link tree there, like what Adam had, and he's just popped it in the chat. And that has all my offerings. So month in, month out, I offer what's called Gaia's Gifts. And these are free masterclasses open to everyone all over the world. They're recorded. So if it's not in your time zone, it will be sent out to you via email. My husband and I work this as a business together. So we have a YouTube together, and it's Paul and Vanessa Jean. You can subscribe to that. And for those that just love living the way of the soultrepreneur, that's what we're focused on. You know, working with Adam, obviously, is one of our top leaders in our tree of love. And you see how he works. We all work together side by side. So the YouTube channel has lots there on business and stacks on product as well. Yeah, but basically everything I'm offering and lives I do will all be on my Instagram. So come join me there.
I saw there's some questions before about where do we find little bite-sized information about, you know, all the things we've been talking about today. So on my link tree, if you're not familiar with link tree, when you click on that link, it'll open like a menu, and then you click on each of the buttons on that menu, and that will take you to all the different Facebook and YouTube and things like that. So I have done a YouTube video for every single oil that doTERRA has. And it's about a 10-minute video that will go through how to use that oil physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, and then match it up with some animals and crystals at the end as well. I also have an online academy where you can do self-paced learning. And one of my most popular courses there is called The Magic of Essential Oils, which is based on an oracle deck that I have coming out later this year. What I find when we love our oils, we go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, and we start, it's almost like we're speed dating them. We can't remember their names and what they're good for, and we get confused. So in my newsletter that I send out in the Magic of Essential Oils course, we focus on one oil a week. And we go in through the astrology, why people love it or hate it, why we get called to that one at certain times, activities about that, which aspects of the life that best resonates with, and all that type of thing. And there's over 100 oils in there that you can kind of journey through and keep going back to and reminding yourself about as well, type of thing. Apart from the online academy, I also do live classes. I'm taking enrollment for one that starts in a couple of weeks, which is called The Magical Life, which is all new content teaching you how to bring little kind of things into your daily, you know, we're all busy, we all have lots to do, but how can you bring little things in to merge the spirituality with our physicality as well? So one thing I'm really excited to teach about is, you know, many of you I'm sure probably have heard that, you know, our Native and our First Nation people would celebrate each moon based on, you know, like July's moon is the maybe the wolf moon, and December's moon is the wind moon. But with the changing of the seasons, sometimes the wind moon, it's still as, and so the energy is not right. And I'll teach you how to find the own energy of where nature's at right then and celebrate the moon in that way. So that's all there as well. Plus, we'd love you to grab our book. It's available all around the world. If you click on these little bit.ly links, and we'll pop them in the chat as well, that will take you to the country. I don't think we had anyone in Europe at the moment on this chat, but we've sold out in Europe, and it's going to take us a little while to get another shipment there. So bear with us for that one, but you can order from any of those places. Got a sale on happening at the moment. USA, if you put in 20 off Geo, that's at Oil Life. That'll give you 20% off the book. And in Canada, All Things Essential is our distributor in Toronto, and they ship obviously all around Canada. And if you put promo 20, all in capital letters, that will sort that out for you as well. So Oh, it's 2 a.m. for Europe at the moment. I know that's the problem with the globe being so round. There's always someone asleep, and we want to do that. So thank you so much for having us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. The final thought that we'd just love to leave with you, as we've been sitting here for the last 90 minutes, plants and trees have been growing in over 40 countries around the world so that one day they will gift us their own essential oils. And what Vanessa and I ask of you is please don't let that sacrifice be in vain. Learn to understand their magic, to work with their magic, and for them to bring your own personal magic out so that you can share it with the world and make this world a better place. It's been such a pleasure hanging out with you for the last 90 minutes. We hope to do it again and see you maybe online or maybe hopefully again in person. I want to go back to Toronto Zoo and back to North Carolina, where I used to go twice a year. So I saw a few people from there as well. So the promo code's not working. Which one's not working, Jane? The Canadian or the American?
Jane's Canadian.
Okay, cool. Let me follow that up with All Things Essential. And I will, I'll let Jennifer know when it's sorted. I'll message them now. So bear with us for that. So just make sure you are using all capitals as well. That's all from us.
Wow, this was so amazing. My goodness, I think I speak for everyone in saying that we were just dialed in the entire time. I even as a diamond, I've never like I used to always make fun of myself for saying I got to this place just by knowing the top 10 oils in the emotional aromatherapy line, and just sitting here listening to all of this, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I feel that so often we underestimate the power of the plants and nature, and sometimes we just want to help people and look up a protocol in a book and, you know, oh, here's what you would use. But hearing you guys talk about this and really just getting so connected to the actual natural source, this is, I feel like every single person selling doTERRA, every single person sharing these oils, every single person putting these oils on somebody just needs to know this. So I'm so blessed that you guys were here with us tonight, and at least tonight from where I am, West Coasters, you might be a little bit earlier for you. It's almost 10 p.m. for us, and morning for you guys. So we are all over the world enjoying this call from you guys, and it was absolutely powerful. So thank you so much. Everyone, I'm sure, is so grateful for you guys as well. And yeah, we can't wait to get our hands on the book and catch your podcasts and everything that you guys have to offer. It's just very powerful, and we're very blessed to have you as part of the doTERRA community and to be here with us this evening. So thank you guys so much. And for all those of you guys that are live on Facebook right now catching it, also for everyone here, you can come back and watch this again. It'll be in the guide section under monthly team call replays.
Take care. We'll talk to you again soon.
Did you share the codes for your Facebook as well, your Facebook community, Jen? You can, Adam's just put them there. They can.
Oh, yes. Oh, perfect.
I've already sent it to you in Messenger as well, Jen.
Awesome. I will then copy that and throw it into Facebook as well.
Yeah, and the link tree. So anyone who wants to connect with us on Instagram, just come on over and follow us there. Send us a DM. We'd love to connect with you. Thanks for being with us, everyone. Thanks so much, Jennifer, for hosting us. It was fantastic.
Thank you guys so much. All right. Good night, everyone. Or good day.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.